Hello, guys. It's great to have you with us in the Inova Clubin em Casa Festival. I'm Rosana Jatobá, and I'm amazed to see the amount of innovative ideas that our speakers are sharing with us. And the topic, sustainability, is once again here. Our chat today is with the head of sustainability of Santander, Brazil. Let's welcome Karina Bueno. Hi, Karina. It's a pleasure to have
Oi,
you here with
Rosana, tudo
us.
bem? É um super
Hello,
prazer estar aqui conversando com
Rosana.
você.
It's a
Agradeço
pleasure
muitíssimo o convite da
to
Clabin.
be here, and thank you, Clubin, for inviting me. Karine, I'd like to start our chat to talk about a very interesting piece of news. Santander was considered the most sustainable bank in the world in 2019. This is data revealed by the Dow Jones Sustainability Index. Of the 175 financial institutions that were assessed, just 25 were part of the ranking. And you were first because of the sustainable initiatives you have in the social, environmental, and governance pillars. What does that add
Bom, Rosana,
value
acho
to
que
the bank?
eu acho que você tem
I
vários
think
ângulos,
there
né,
are
quando a gente olha
many
um índice como esse.
angles when we
Primeiro, que
see
assim, aqui
this
a gente está falando também
index.
do grupo
We are
Santander, né?
talking
Então,
about
da
the
nossa operação não só no
Santander
Brasil,
group,
mas
not
como
only
grupo com os
Brazil,
diferentes
but as a
países que a
group
gente
in the
opera.
different
E aí,
countries
óbvio, você
we
tem o
are
ângulo
in.
aqui, que é o ângulo dos
So we have the
investidores em
angle
si,
of
né?
the
Então, o Santander é
investors.
uma empresa que
So
tem
Santander
investidores
is a
e, de fato, o que
company
a gente tem
that
visto é
is
cada vez mais, e
sustainable,
dos últimos anos
and
para cá,
in the
mais ainda,
last
o
years
investidor
we've
querendo
seen that
conhecer a
investors
atuação, né, de
want
práticas
to
ESG ou
see the
sustentabilidade, que a gente
sustainability
pode chamar
practices
assim da
that the
forma
companies
como a
have.
gente achar melhor.
We can
Mas
call
então
it
acho que
different
tem a primeira
names,
vertente que
but
obviamente é esse
so there's the
diálogo e
first
a
thing, which
transparência
is
com
the
investidores, né? Então
transparency and
eu acho
this
que também o
dialogue
charme
with
do
the
Jones
investors.
participar, ele
Being part of
traz
Dow
para
Jones
a
and
gente essa
participating
responsabilidade
in
sempre de
that
aumentar a
brings us the
transparência das
responsibility to
informações, dos
be more
disclosures, né? Para
transparent
poder
about our
participar desses
information,
índices. Então acho
and
que
so we
tem
are
um
part of
valor
these
aqui que
indexes.
obviamente é
So there
dos
is the
investidores.
value.
Tem outro
When we
que
think
é a
about
questão dos
investors, there's
próprios clientes,
also
né? Então,
the
quantos clientes percebem o
customers,
Santander? Então,
how
pode ser que
clients
a gente está
see
falando do Dow Jones,
Santander.
está
So we're
distante,
talking
mas o
about
que
Dow
está ali,
Jones.
na
It may
verdade,
seem far
representa as
away,
práticas que
but
estão
it
acontecendo nos
represents the
países com relação a
practices
ESG
that are
e com relação à
happening with the
sustentabilidade, né?
countries
Então,
with
obviamente,
regards
ele
to
é um marco, ele é muito
sustainability. So
importante
it's really
para o cliente, assim
important. It's a
como às vezes ele não
landmark for
sabe, não percebe, né? Não
customers
conhece os
that
índices, não
don't know
precisa
about
conhecer.
the
Agora, o que é importante para o
index.
cliente aqui na ponta é de
What
fato
is
perceber isso
important
na
for
relação
them
com o
is
banco.
to see
Seja no
that in the
financiamento, quando a gente
bank
está falando de uma
with
placa
financing,
fotovoltaica,
when we're
seja na
talking about a
transparência da relação,
photovoltaic
seja no
plaque, the
tratamento, né,
transparency
que
in
a
our
gente precisa
relationship,
ter aqui com o
the
cliente de
treatment
modo
we must
cada
have
vez mais
with
próximo, cada
customers
vez
to have
mais
them closer to
significativo.
us
E
and
aí tem um
understanding
terceiro
their
pilar aqui
needs.
que eu
And
acho muito
there's the third
importante,
pillar that
que
is
são os
very
próprios
important,
funcionários, né?
which is
Então
the
acho que cada vez mais
employees.
também a gente vê muito essa
We
discussão da
see
empresa
more
com
and more
propósito,
the
né, do
discussion of
porquê, na verdade, que
companies
a
with a
gente se junta em
purpose,
cultura, né,
why
e uma
we get
cultura que
together as a
preza,
culture,
né,
as a
por essa
company.
geração de valores. A gente
So
tem
it's a
no
company
Santander, né, o
that
propósito do banco
has
é
mission
contribuir para que pessoas e
statements. We
negócios
want to
prosperem. Então, quando a gente
contribute
também tem
to
um
the
reconhecimento como
thriving of
esse, eu acho que
businesses.
dá uma
So when we are
legitimidade também com o
committed
público
this
interno,
way,
com funcionários.
we
Eu acho que reforça
get
essa questão
we
de fazer parte
resonate
dessa
with
cultura,
our
né, e de querer, na verdade, atuar
employees.
para que
They
cada
want to be
vez
part of the
mais a gente
culture,
amplie
and
essas
they want
práticas que a gente
to
tem.
make
E
these
ó, esse é o
practices
título
more
4
and
aqui, que
more
eu vou
common.
colocar aqui,
And
obviamente, não esquecer,
also,
mas é a questão de
I
toda a
did not
sociedade, né?
mention,
Eu
but it
acho que
has to do
cada
with the
vez mais, de
society as
novo, o
well.
tema
The
ESG,
more
ele está sendo mais
this is a
conhecido, de novo,
topic that
vamos
is
chamar ele do
becoming
jeito que a
better
gente
known.
quiser,
There
né?
can
E
be
as pessoas
different
começam a
names to
querer ter
call
mais
it, but
informação, a
people
querer prestar
want to
atenção.
have
Então,
more
e às vezes a gente,
information.
como
They want to know about
consumidor, não tem toda
sustainability.
a informação
And
que a gente
sometimes,
gostaria
as
de ter,
consumers, we
né?
don't have
Então,
all the
índices como esse,
information.
ou
So,
outras formas também
indexes
de dar
such as this one
visibilidade, dar transparência,
to
vai
give
ser importante para a gente
visibility,
como
they are
consumidor, né? E
important
como
as
sociedade,
consumers
conhecer
and
mais sobre a atuação
society,
das
so we
empresas, né?
know
Então,
more
acho que
about the
toda
work
empresa
of
tem que estar
companies.
muito
I think
atenta a
all
isso, a
companies
como
must
participa,
pay
como
attention to
disponibiliza essas
that, how to
informações, obviamente,
participate,
principalmente
how
no
to
que
make
faz,
the
né, em
information
termos de
available, and what they
sustentabilidade,
do
seja
in
no
terms of
negócio, seja na
sustainability,
gestão.
either in the management or business. Yeah, we know that the financial market is playing a leading role in this revolution for a better world to make companies have more sustainable initiatives. But I think that's shared responsibility. All the sectors have
É,
to be
não, sem
involved,
dúvida, né?
right?
Então, acho que
Yeah,
tem que ter um papel,
absolutely.
e aí
And I think in the last 2 years, the discussion with investors is becoming more robust. So we see investors that are dedicated, that want to have the portfolio, that and the investors that are more traditional, they are paying more attention and they understand that the social and the environmental and governance issues affect the business, not only in the short term, but also in the long term. So I think this is something that brings other companies to join. I say that I work in a financial institution, and where the financial institutions are, it helps give visibility of where the other industries are. I talk to customers, different sizes, different places, small entrepreneurs that need microcredit, and the large international companies, and that have goals. And where we are, we can get an interesting view of the society. And when when Santander, we now we want to be a net zero emission for 2050. So 2 years ago we said we will remove the single use plastic from the um, buildings, from our branches. So when we help with financing, or when we help as an institution and in our communication, there is impact. I was with some customers when we stopped using plastic. We have many customers that are in the plastic industry. Plastic is commonly used in our society, but the discussion is what's the future of plastic? How should we deal with this material? And it's quite interesting because talking about innovation, it has to do with the mindset of the companies. So the same day I may meet a client that is 5 steps ahead, and meet a client from the same industry that is using a business model that is still a bit outdated, that it's like 20 years ago when they started the company. So it has to do with how are you prepared for the market. When we talk about the finance institutions, I see that happening in terms of investment, this worry with sustainability. And when we talk to the client, we say we want to be with you in the transition. Last year, we started to structure what we call linked loan, which is a bilateral loan operation. And we agree with the client the indicators, environmental, social, or governance indicators, depending on the resource, that are relevant for them, for the kind of business they have, and that they commit to deliver. And we have two prices, one that is the regular operation, and a combined price agreed with the client if they reach the indicators. This is a way for us to start the conversation. We care. I know you care as well. What is relevant to your business that we can give like a discount to you in this operation, and that we can help you. And I think this helps. We still have a lot of things to do, but I think that's the first step. And thinking about fostering sustainable initiatives, you just launched the first ESG portfolio in the bank, finding companies that have a social and environmental commitment, that are committed to governance. When you offer this to consumers, you are restating your commitment to sustainability. Yes, there are two parts. One is within asset, so investment funds that we have that they can choose to invest. So we have the ethical fund that was a pioneer 20 years ago. So there's a methodology that has different indicators. There's a local analysis with experts in And also, we have these people putting in the investment portfolio. And recently, we created an ESG research area in the investment area of the bank. And this was the first time we recommended a portfolio considering ESG. So, as a financial institution, we get more knowledge of the practice. You don't need to follow it completely, but we have a pool of information. We have experts looking at ESG research, and we say we have this information so you can make your decisions. There's investors that use this ESG research materials, but the idea is how we can put intelligence and analysis in our information and offer that to our investors so that we make a stronger culture and we have better elements to make decisions, either in the individual level or corporate investors. The three ESG, from the three letters of the acronym, what is the most important? The three are important. I don't want to, I'm not just saying it. I think the three matter. We are a retail bank in Brazil. You have to talk about entrepreneurship, you have to talk about the social impact, you have to think about all of that. So we've been 18 years thriving, and we are the first private bank in Brazil in terms of loans, and we have 700,000 customers. It's not a lot. If you think about the size, about informal entrepreneurs, and Prospera works with small entrepreneurs, so we have developed a knowledge on how to operate this business, and this is an operation within retail that is very well operating in terms of amount of customers, low delinquency, sustainability, microfinance in Brazil. So the S for a retail bank working in Brazil and entrepreneurship as well, fostering the companies, this is something we must have. Of course, governance, especially when we talk about the financial world, the financial institutions that are extremely regulated in Brazil since 2014, all the banks must have a social environmental policy according to the central bank. All the banks must have that, and they are supervised by the central bank. So, governance, in the sense of regulation, and also with the investors as well. So we have a robust governance and we're getting better and better. And the environmental issue, there are many business opportunities. So there is our responsibility in our operations, and we are committed, and we only buy renewable energy in our branches. In Brazil, over 50% of our operation is just made with renewable energy. And there's also, water, paper. We are trying to cut down on paper with our processes. And we see that in the environmental axis, a country like Brazil, we have a huge potential in terms of biodiversity, access to water. So I think we have plenty of business opportunities, and this is something we've been working in the last few years, and we have the fostering of renewable energy, the bidding processes, the auctions, the finance for individuals and companies to use sun the solar energy. We have a 5 billion line of credit to foster and also agribusiness, right? L- we are increasing, improving, but this has to be done with lots of responsibility. So we monitor that, and also lowering our emissions. So there's a huge potential. I think we all gain when we have this kind of approach. And we use the three pillars in our bank, both in the operations and in the business perspective and generation of new revenues to the bank. Talking about the environmental pillar, you are part of the coalition and you have a sustainability plan for the Amazon to develop a bioeconomy there using the biodiversity potential, because also we have the greatest reserve of water from the planet. So, and also considering the preservation of our forest. This was a very important thing in the way that we bring this discussion to society. This dialogue of the three banks, the Amazonia is with Itaú and Bradesco as well. So, because of COVID, when we get together for some social actions, donations, ever since last year, we are getting together to do that. And this Amazon discussion got momentum, and it's a real need. In the private sector, we need to understand what kind of deve- development model we want to have. So we have been learning a lot. We've been talking to different experts, different companies. We have 7 experts in the council for this initiative, and we have a joint workforce. So, what are the main each one of the banks operate, and we're trying to incorporate this to the banks. So we will start sustainable culture in the Amazon region, and we are learning what we're doing for the market. And so we are learning how to operate, and we are learning what kind of business we can have. This is for the operation, there's the macro level, and also the three banks defining how to operate that individually. And I think in Brazil, we can be a power in terms of bioeconomy. There are many initiatives and discussions going on, but as a country, we need to have the view how to get there, what do we need to encourage, how the companies and the private sector talks to the different parts of society. And I think we have just started this journey. We are far away from finishing it, but we need to understand what's going on outside and what we can do as a business and what other kinds of discussions we need to have, broad discussions that we need to help start in Brazil. Karine, as we're talking about innovation, I'd like to ask the last question to you. What is the role of fintechs? Do you think they are a threat to the structure of a traditional bank like Santander? Well, I think what we have in terms of innovation, and we will have even more. I am an optimist. So I think there's so many opportunities for so many different things. The business models will be questioned not only for banks. The fintechs question the traditional models, but everything will be disrupted. And so I think what we have to do, and we are doing it at Santander, we have innovation initiatives, the Empreenda Santander, that brings all the other kinds of ideas. We consider the pains that we have here, and then we think about innovation. We learn a lot when we see the fintechs and we innovate inside the bank. We say that these are larger banks, but there are lots of innovation that occurs within these banks. So within the Santander ecosystem, we have lots of fintechs, and we use the best of both worlds. You can innovate, you can change things that the bank does, and these companies are inside the bank, and we use the robustness of the bank. So I think we need to understand, we need to embrace, we need to innovate, and we must use the best of both worlds, from the fintech world and for the bank institutions. And this is going to happen in all the industries, not only in the financial industry. We must be get used to getting challenged. This is what happens when we have innovation. Karina, I loved our talk. Unfortunately, we don't have time to talk about this robust agenda that Santander has. It's been a pleasure, and I hope I see you in a coming opportunity. Thank you very much, Rosana. Well, I would like to invite you to continue with us in the Nova Clubbing at Home Festival. You've been following since the morning the content that we are producing. Don't go anywhere. It's an amazing program that we have for you. See you soon.